Alrighty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Marketing Dude podcast. Folks, we are very excited to talk with you today about our guest, and what she's going to inform us on is something that people have been trying, something that people have been trying to crack for years. And it has everything to deal with, like, what do you do if you're in real estate, but you don't really have an SOI? Better yet, what do you do when you completely relocate and you start off fresh in a brand new market? You don't even know where the fucking grocery store is at, and yet you have to sell a house. Like, you don't even know your neighbor's name, yet even have a cousin or anyone to watch your kids. How the hell are you going to get started? Folks, this our guest today has mastered this in just 2 years. She's become a top agent in her market, not just top agent like in the top 20. I'm talking about in the top 3, top 4, right? And she did this in 2 years without an SOI, and she's going to share her secrets with us today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce our guest, Mrs. Paige Schulte. Paige, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
Please go ahead and give our listeners a little bit about who you are, and then I'm really excited to get to know how you do this.
Dive in. Okay, so first of all, married mom with 3 kids. Started my career outside of college with Sacramento Kings and Monarchs basketball. Rose to number 2 in the WNBA, really focused on the Monarchs because that's where the money was to be made. The Kings were doing really, really well. And met my business partner there. Started my first company at 23, did that for 10 years. When we started, we had a big competitor in our marketplace, and decided to pivot and really focus on one specific area within a mindset of abundance. If she's doing well, then everybody understands that they need the product anyway. So we went to it in a different direction, different territory, and just crushed it there until she went out of business. And then we took over her market. And then about 10 years into that, my work wife and I decided that we wanted to change. And I came up to visit a friend out here in Washington, and the market was good in Sacramento, and decided to pick up the family and move kind of on a whim. I knew one person and needed a job. So I liked the idea of real estate in that we could create and have a creative outlet for marketing, have a flexible work-life balance if you can manage that. Mm-hmm. And then have autonomy. I had 70 part-time employees with my previous company, and I really wanted to just do me. So I'm a solo agent. In 2.5 years now, I'm the number 1 solo agent in my market and number 4 overall. And I attribute that to staying in my lane, knowing that there's enough business for everybody, and being really consistent in finding the openings that nobody was doing, certain things to stand out.
So you guys, and the business that you had in Sacramento was not real estate related, correct?
No, we did after school programming with children.
Okay. But the principles you learned, principles you learned is what you brought over to real estate when you started in Seattle. And then those principles are focusing on one niche, staying right within your lane, and then just dominating that special. Folks, this is really, really important. We actually just did a show where we were talking about similar on how everyone tries to become the jack of all trades and resonates with the master of none. And it's funny in the real estate space. And first off, you guys, Paige is not a real estate agent. She's an entrepreneur. You can tell by her mindset. So she just happens to sell real estate. So that's mindset shift number 1. But it's crazy on how many different ways that people and agents try to market themselves in a call it a spray and pray type of way. So many people throw so much shit at the wall to see what sticks, and they resonate with nobody. Give me an example. Like, I'm not a luxury agent. I wasn't when I practiced. You can sort of tell I swear a little bit too much. But I knew who I was, and I knew I was always a dude. And that's why I called myself a dude, because I just attracted other dudes. But I knew my audience, and so many agents try to resonate with everyone. They resonate with none. And the folks, most of you guys can only handle 2 or 3 clients right now. And yet you're trying to reach thousands and thousands of people. Right. So it's so important to understand that. Now, let's talk about that really quick. Staying in your lane. Let's define that a little bit more. Pick a niche, right? Folks, everyone lives somewhere. Okay. There's no shortage of clients.
Right.
Real estate. So that's why you have to pick a niche. Let's go into that a little bit further.
Well, so really sat down and you break down the numbers realistically and say, how many can you actually handle in a year in your given life? For me, I really like to be around between 30 and 40 clients a year. It's a robust business. There's 30 or 40 clients in I call it my zone of happiness. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to go out there with my marketing and I'm going to say, I serve my city, Gig Harbor. That's plenty of business in that area. Will I take business outside of it? Yes, but mostly no.
Will you turn it down actually?
I do refer it out. So part of the reason why I've built such instant credibility is that I've said, I am your real estate market expert in this area, and anything outside of that, I'm going to refer you to the next neighborhood expert that is like me, but for that area. And that's my gift to my clients, is to say, here's the best agent to serve you, because that's what I'm telling you that you need in your market. So I'll sell their house, but I'm not going to sell. I'll sell it here if they're the seller, but if they want to buy in a different city, I'm going to refer them to one of my friends. I know all the best agents.
Interesting.
And
that's interesting. I haven't heard a lot of, let's be honest. Like I don't know if I would do that either. Like, but I see where you're going, because it's smart. You're playing the long game. You're playing the long. Yeah.
You really think about it. So on top of 43 transactions this year, 21 million in production, I have a passive income of, this year it was around 30 grand. Free, that's free money. And that saves me on time and having to serve that, trying to pretend that I know where the grocery store is or anything about the schools or anything about a market that I'm not familiar with, and wasting time and really brain resources.
Yep.
You know, there's no white space when you try to learn a new market.
True.
And,
so true.
And like I said, there's enough business here in the market that I'm in that I can do that. And you have to stay disciplined, because when how do you churn out content and really keep nurturing the people that you're showing up for? If you're like, oh, you know what, today I'm going to show you a place an hour away from here, for 15 grand, like you can just make 15 grand, 2 blocks over.
And this is, folks, everything is going hyper local. Like everything. You can't even rank there's no way you're going to rank in search unless you're hyper local. Like for those of you who want to create videos and create all this content, it has to be hyper local. Like you're not going to compete, for example, homes for sale in Seattle. Okay. You got to compete against Coldwell Banker, Zillow, but you could compete single family homes or single family ranch homes for sale in Seattle. But that's probably still too general. Single family ranch homes in Seattle, but I don't know any suburbs of Seattle, but something even more specific. Like you have to create those terms. This is interesting.
Well, and I think that, so if you look at defining your zone of happiness, defining your ideal client. So I'm probably, as a mom with 3 kids, not the perfect person to serve a bachelor who, wants to, or like a single lady with a bunch of cats that wants to live in a condo. I'm not going to be able to, give them those lifestyle connections that a new buyer is going to want, or a seller to paint the story there. And then you go to specific property specific type things. And so you could niche down that far. It's really looking at smallest viable market. What's your smallest viable market to hit your goals?
I don't know any top producer that doesn't own their niche or a niche. Right? Everyone has a niche, whether that's REO, short sales back in the, what it could be, specific property types, equestrian, for example.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So you look at the top producers in my market, all of them are niched down specifically to the area that we all serve. So
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me about, so you were sold, you get to Seattle, you're absolutely sold. You're like, all right, I'm going to go into real estate. This looks like something I could do. You don't have much experience with it. So great. We make that decision. But before you got your license, I'm assuming that you already knew exactly what you were going to do. Like, you're like, I'm going to own just Gig Harbor. That's it. I'm going to own Gig Harbor and that's it. And I'm not going to do anything else. Like that plan already happened before you got licensed, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I really looked at laying the foundation. I got licensed, and a month later I told people, I kind of set my marketing plan and said, if I'm going to do this really well, then I have to stand out, and this is how I'm going to be different. Yep. And all of my content could then live and breathe around serving my clients in that market. Perfect. So I work with buyers and sellers. all my marketing is for sellers. So the goal is to only work with sellers, but I'll still serve buyers in Gig Harbor.
You get a lot of buyers with sellers.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So walk me through, like, let's get into some of the mechanics. So you get licensed month one. Talk to me about what kind of marketing are we doing? I know obviously we're getting to social media and all of that.
Right.
Talk to me about what the mechanics are behind this. You first pick your geographic segment, like, or any segment. Doesn't have to be geographic. Pick a segment and own it.
Geographic is super easy. It's really something that people can grasp onto. So when I very first started my short game, I actually bought Zillow. I bought Zillow leads, and I bought it for one specific zip code, and that's it. All eggs in one basket. I knew the market. I knew every single house that was on the market, so that when people called me, I could just be like, here's what's happening in this market. You know, I've seen every house. And then in the meantime, I went Instagram stories. So my face, the most human agent wins. And so when we get on video, we're relatable, we're out in the community, we can share favorite neighborhoods, favorite restaurants, we can walk them through houses. And I was very consistent. I don't think I've probably missed like 10 days in 2 years of Instagram stories.
Interesting.
So and that's free. So I really, as a new agent, you have to leverage as much as you can. That doesn't cost you as much. But I was very clear about how I was investing. Everything went back into the business. And if I worked outside my market, all that money came back into marketing in the Gig Harbor market. Gig Harbor is small fishing town. Everybody's lived here forever. I was a Californian. They pretty much hate us.
Yeah.
And just showed up on a consistent basis. So I did Instagram really, really well. And I never missed an opportunity to put out a post that was, hey sellers, here's the cost of selling a house, and just demystified the process for them so that they felt empowered. And then you become a guide instead of the hero.
Yeah.
And I never, now, walking through coaching other agents, I never talk about my stats or anything when I talk to a client ever. It still feels weird to say it now on opportunities like this.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Folks, the days of the bus bench billboard type of advertising where you're telling everybody about how long you've been in the business and how many awards you've won, no one gives a shit. They first and foremost, they have to connect with you to actually pick up the phone and call you. And there's no connection there. I promise you, they're not going to pick up the phone and call you.
Yeah.
People do business with agents they know, like, and trust, but they have to remember first. So you're just doing IG stories. I'm guessing extreme hashtagging, hitting your area. How are you? Tell me about that.
I use one hashtag.
What's
my
that?
hashtag strategy is my city that I live in, period. That's it. I don't want to attract other real estate agents.
Do you call it do you go like Gig Harbor real estate or just Gig Harbor?
That's Gig Harbor. Just Gig Harbor.
It's a good tip.
Yeah.
You think we overthink this?
Totally. Yeah.
People are like,
no average person is following Gig Harbor real estate agent. No average person is following partner with Page. Every now and then you can extend a thought with a hashtag for fun, but every single post has the city that I serve because I'm going to show up consistently in that hashtag, and they're going to follow things that they love about their city, which is their own city's hashtag.
Yep.
So buy a house, sell a house. Nobody's hashtagging that when they're going to look for an agent.
Nope.
I do get some referral leads off of that too. So other agents will hashtag Gig Harbor and find the real estate agents that show up in that space for people who are referring business over. And then I did spend a lot of time connecting with local business owners. As an entrepreneur, I wanted to find a way to shine the light on the other businesses and become known for knowing everything. So even on my signature line, it says realtor and community connector. So I went really big. And this is when you talk about really niching down. I wrote a coffee table book. Just this past June, I launched a coffee table book on Gig Harbor.
That's awesome.
And interviewed all the individual businesses, produced it. It's been unbelievable in terms of the, not only the relationships that you get there and the value that I'm giving back to the community, but somebody described it as a love letter to Gig Harbor. But then on top of it, I have all that content that's now digital. It goes on YouTube, it goes on Instagram, Facebook, my blog. I mean, it's so good. And I didn't expect to even, I didn't, kind of move forward. We, in entrepreneur lands, we just kind of go. We're like, oh, this can't be that hard. No, it's really freaking hard. But when you look at the layers of content that I created there, people call me now. You're
the digital mayor.
Yeah, so, I come up with Gig Harbor Canoe and Kayak, and they're like, "Can I get the phone number there?" And I was like, "Sure."
Dude, this is great. So we get, folks, for you guys are listening. A lot of people ask, "Marketing dude, what do you guys do?" Well, we create video content for people in their local community, just like this.
Yeah.
And I see it work better in a smaller town than in a big city. And many times, this is my theory, but I believe it's because the people love where they live. And the reason why I love the business owner strategy so much is because you're creating a mini TV commercial for a referral source.
Right.
And it's crazy. And people I get agents all the time, like, business owners aren't really my thing. I'm not going to do that because I look stupid. Look, it puts a lot of money in your fucking pocket at the end of the day, because you guys have to realize that small business owners share the same mindset us two do. Right? Yeah. We're entrepreneurs are a bigger referral source than non-entrepreneurs. It's just the way we're wired, right? We always want to go help and serve others. That's how most entrepreneurs are wired. So as you do this in the community, how often did they share all your videos you're probably creating for them? They probably shared them more than you had to. And then there's the exposure.
Yeah, shared on personal accounts, shared on their business accounts, their mom's sharing it. And it's a local viral. You want to go local viral, not big. And I think, to talk about your comment about bigger metro areas, if, San Diego, you can go East County and you can pick out the city there and go as a neighborhood expert in a certain demographic in that area. Even in Gig Harbor, it's not huge. But
what's the population?
The city itself is only 8,000, but unincorporated is about 40. So 40,000. And really, Fox Island, I never go there. It feels so far away to me. It's part of Gig Harbor. It is part of our town, but I probably don't need to do any business on Fox Island ever, and I will be fine.
I love, because like a lot of agents, I'm gonna get your opinion on this. 87% of newly licensed agents fail. Okay, after 5 years in the business, right? Now, I think it's because they're told to do the wrong things, and a little bit of combination. A lot of people aren't salespeople; are just lazy. But content creation, I believe, is modern day prospecting. And if you're not creating contests, I don't think you can't build a brand without content. So it's sort of like, how do you go out and you become the brandless agent? I mean, you have to create content nowadays, because it's what keeps us on top of mind. It's what keeps us at the forefront. And everyone hires an expert. I mean, people today don't feel like they need to hire. People don't feel like they need a realtor. It's like, it's just nice to have one. It's just, is the cost justified or not? Right. And when you become somebody, when you build a brand, you only build a brand through doing what Paige has done, where she's got all this content, and you probably go to the grocery store and they're like, "Hey, what's up, Paige?" You're like this little celebrity walking around town. Does that happen a lot?
Yes. And when I go on vacation, that's when I can like totally slum it and get into my, I just don't even get dressed. Here, I'm always on. So I don't go outside. Are you Paige's gig? That's what they, before people really understood, they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's Paige's gig." And you get that, like, you get calls.
Is Paige's gig the name of the show?
Paige's gig is my blog and my Instagram handle.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically that's my Netflix show.
Now, how did you, how much content are you creating on a monthly basis? And what's the frequency and the distribution of it? Is it like 2 videos a month and you're doing a bunch of Instagram stuff? How does it work?
I do a Facebook Live and an Instagram Live every single week. And that is updating my followers, audience, on Gig Harbor market stats. So because I'm so focused on one area, I can tell them, here's how many active homes are on the market. Here's what's going on in every price bracket. That's how we know that we aren't leaving money on the table is when you know exactly what your market is doing and the absorption rate and days on market, and that know how to pivot. And you can't do that everywhere. So you can't know every market. So that's my content on Facebook Live. I have to do that every single week, never fail. Instagram stories are kind of behind the scenes. Every single week I take them on tour. So every Thursday that we go on tour and see the newly listed houses, you can see my relationships with the other agents, because those relationships in small communities matter. If you want to win, go to an agent who knows everybody. And then I do have one business spotlight a month. A week that goes out. A week. Yep. And then it's just what kind of value can I provide to a buyer or a seller in staging a house. Sure. But the one thing I'll tell you that I did from the very, very beginning was know that I need to build an email list. As a fan of Amy Porterfield, she'll tell you the same thing. If you look at my website, askpaigeschulte.com, that's my real estate site. You cannot get to Instagram or Facebook from there. I may spend a lot of time on there, but everything that I'm doing is trying to get them to my website and to opt into a 30-day guide to staging their home.
Yep.
An app.
And can you explain to our listeners why that is so important? Why it is so important to capture information on all marketing?
Yeah, I mean, building an email list, you own it. Mark Zuckerberg can't change the algorithm. He can't make you pay for it.
He can make you pay a little bit more.
That's fun. Play in that world. But I mean, even on the times that I've run, that I do my Facebook Lives, I do them on Wednesdays typically, and twice, if you've done them on Wednesdays, Instagram and Facebook have gone out and it just hasn't worked. So you lose your megaphone if that's all you rely on. And so everything is about driving people, even my in-person events. So when I did as a new agent and knew nobody, all of my client events were open to everybody. Totally. So everybody in Gig Harbor, come and get some free coffee. Let's have a rosé tasting. Let's have a gingerbread house thing. And I was just collecting email addresses. My book is my lead magnet. So people can download the book for free and they get a free copy. And it's cheaper than I say I've been clean from online leads now for over a year.
And you're going after this is what I like about it, that I like a lot of what you're doing is that, and I don't know if you guys got this early on in the interview here, she's only marketing for sellers. So her ebook is a staging guide for sellers to increase sales price. She doesn't doing any outbound marketing for buyers. And I think that's really, really smart. I never spent money on buyers either. It's like, if I'm going to spend money, I'm going to go after sellers, because if I have the sellers, I have the buyers. And that's really, really smart that you're doing that. But she just has one lead magnet, folks. It's all you need. You need one good one. And that's what you pimp out. But the community videos that you're doing, that makes it less scary for people to opt into your offer.
Yeah.
So she got the branding part is extremely important on this, because no one wants to opt in for something if they don't really know the person. But when they already know them, then they're like, yeah, awesome. I'm going to opt in because I know I'm not going to get ripped off.
The community videos are, they're putting you in a place of, it's the same story of being the guide and not the hero. I'm going to walk you through and introduce you to all of the local people that make this town amazing. Yep. And you can do that through video and say, you know what, I want to be connected with her because she's connected with that guy. It's kind of a roundabout endorsement. Mm-hmm. And nobody else does it. It takes time and it is a lot of work, but the depth that you get in a community, like you plant the flag and you're done. Like it's it's a lot of work is cold calling and door knocking, and prospecting. Like not only is it not only just dialing, period. Not only is it a lot of work, but a lot of times it's fucking degrading. Like not many of us. No one got into this business to be a no one got into this business to be a door-to-door salesperson, right? Or a cold caller. And and I get it that back then in the 60s and the 80s and the 90s, maybe that stuff we didn't have the same megaphones that we have now. And And I think that those are the short game. If you want to door knock and you want to hustle like that, you will eventually burn out. You cannot keep that up at a high level.
Yep.
But if you want to do it for the short game, it's the same with having your phone calls happening all the time because you're paying a shit ton of money in Zillow leads. Yep. Eventually, you're like, I need a vacation. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing with sellers. Buyers don't cost as much money, but they cost you so much time. And as a busy mom, I have to figure out how I can control my time because as entrepreneurs, this is all we have. And so sellers, I can maybe pay a little bit more because I stage or whatever, but I can control my time and how I frame my business.
Okay. I like it. Yeah. I think it's golden. So one business interview a month or one spotlight video you're doing on your personal pages, on your lives, both Facebook and Instagram. You're doing one market update.
Only on business. I don't use my personal Facebook page, so don't friend me.
Really?
I don't use it.
Interesting. I guess you can though, because you're not really a local. See, I always say the opposite. But you're coming in from a different, you're running this as a brand, not an individual.
Right.
Whereas most agents are running an individual that are trying to become a brand.
Right. I want people to opt in. I want to attract the right people. So I want them to have opted into my page and really want to be there instead of chasing.
Yeah.
I also am pretty private despite what it looks like. And so I don't want I don't want to have a bunch of people following me.
Interesting. See, this just like, I like you said that because I always say you have to post in your personal. I only use business to pay to play. But you built your personal on your business, which makes sense in your case.
Yeah. And you can, I have a very authentic brand in general. So what you see is what you get. And I don't hold back very much, but, I mean, my Instagram stories go right over. The only thing I will say, to correct myself is that I will put my Instagram stories in my personal Facebook stories. And so that's a little bit more of a kind of a passive way that if they want to see what's going on in my business world, they can watch my stories. And I've gotten a couple super fans from that. That they've never even used me, but they refer me like crazy in my local market.
They haven't used you yet. They just haven't moved.
Right. Yeah.
It's just a matter. It's not. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if. It's when everyone moves. Very, very, very cool. Any other things you want to add here? Like any other tips you want to share, and then we'll get everything wrapped up.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest part is, along with choosing your one area, is choosing one thing. You don't have to blog or Pinterest or tweet.
Tweet.
I'm not on Twitter. Go to where your audience is and do one thing really, really well. Video is a great example of that. Do one thing really well and be consistent, and people will trust that you're always in business. That's been my strategy. And then as you get better and you build momentum, you can take on more and more activities, or you can outsource some of it. So. And
what do you think? People are impatient though.
Oh yeah.
Agents are impatient. So this next question, they're all thinking like, how long is it going to take to get an ROI on this? That's what everyone's thinking right now. So what's your answer to that? About a month?
I'd say
6 months,
3 to 6 months is realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go the free route and do it on Instagram or social, at least have a plan. Gosh, have a website, and like have a plan. My course will help you with that.
Yes, and speaking of, and I think
laying a foundation.
It's so true, and it's folks, don't overthink this stuff. When we're talking about content creation, all content is a reminder that you're in real estate, and all you should be doing when you're thinking about it is just sharing the story you're already telling, or the story you're already living. Because we all have one. There's a whole TV station dedicated to our lives. It's called HGTV. And there's no shortage of content to create. It's just shortage of you thinking outside the box to create it. But you're right. She's right. Throughout the country, there's only X amount of agents doing this. And there's a giant attention grab for brand right now. And some of you guys are going to do it. Majority of you won't.
Well, and some, because I have my course, there are agents in my local market doing exactly what I'm doing. And every now and then they get really nervous. They're like, well, they're starting to do it too. And I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
My
matter.
people are not your people.
Correct.
There is, if you go in, I mean, if you go,
That's 100% right.
yeah, I don't follow any other real estate agents unless they're super inspiring, because I don't want to get into the comparison game and the FOMO and analysis paralysis. You've got to keep moving forward in what you know is going to serve your people. It's not about you. It's about your future clients.
That's the best. That's one of the best things I've heard on the show. You could have 10 people in the same market doing the same thing, but each of their stories are different. And because everyone's personality is unique and God only made one of you, that means you resonate with certain people that others don't. Right. And you're going to be just who you are, and you're going to attract whom you are. The reason why the last 10 clients you've closed the house to became your beer drinking buddies, your wine drinking gal pals, is because you attract like people. So quit trying to make it easy, start attracting more of them. And that you only do that through being your authentic self.
Right.
Paige, go ahead and let our listeners. Paige has a course, folks. If you guys are stuck with like coming up with content or a content creation plan or a planning strategy or a media plan, how often, how that. Paige, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what you have, and maybe they could take you up on it.
Okay, so my course is called Master Your Marketing with Paige. That's also the website. It's not currently open right now, but I do have an awesome 30-day guide to posting on Instagram. And so you can swipe that and get started. 30 days of content already done for you. And you can alter it or use it just as it is, and just get used to speaking in a really authentic voice. And it's a free download on Master Your Marketing with Paige, and I can send you the link for your show notes.
Perfect. Yes, please do. Those will be on the show note if you guys are on the website watching this or watching the video, or they'll be in the link below. But thank you so much. That was awesome. We love this, folks. You see a constant theme on this show, and it's all about attracting business. But the constant theme is that you have to create content in order to do so. The second theme is that you have to create content authentic to you in order to do so. And folks, we would love to help you with all of that. What we do is we'll build your brand, we'll build your story, then we'll show you how to put it on video, and then we'll handle all the editing, distribution, and content creation for you. All you got to do is shoot videos. We make the rest easy. And yes, you'll save thousands of dollars on what you would normally be paying a videographer anyways. So you know where to find us, realestatemarketingdude.com, realestatemarketingdude.com. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And we hope to hear from you soon. Paige, that was awesome. Get her book, folks. Look at her content plan. I saw it. It looks really good. And this isn't rocket science, but just like in anything, it just requires a plan. And then secondly, action. That's how this all works. That's how the world works, folks. So thank you very much for your insight today. It was really fun to have you on. And thank you guys for listening. So awesome. Good. Awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Paige. And we will talk with you soon. Thanks, guys, for listening. And we'll see you guys next week.